Welcome, everybody, to the latest installment, and I might even say the greatest installment, although we'll see how it goes, of Here We Go Again, the series here on Kicking the Seat, where we look at a film that has been remade, we talk about it, and we also look back on the movie that inspired it. And today we are talking about The Toxic Avenger from 1984 and also 2025. And I'm ecstatic. We, as a group, as Earth's Mightiest critics, are pleased to welcome the person without whom we would not be able to have this conversation. I don't even know if that was a proper sentence, but Lloyd Kaufman, the creator of The Toxic Avenger, the mayor of Tromaville himself. Thank you very much, sir. It's an honor to have you here to get your unique perspective on the film that you made and the film that you appear in. A wonderful cameo, and also, you're involved in, producing the remake. Let's get to it. First of all, Lloyd, how you doing?
Well, first, before anything, one must remember that my partner, Michael Hers, who is very private and doesn't want his name on anything, he and I co-directed that movie.
Yes.
And I think that is one of the reasons it's so good. And then Michael Hers didn't have much of a hand in directing. But The First Turn On, which is Troma's funniest movie, is another one where Michael Hers really, his personality is there, and he's the A director on that one. And so I have to say that because he's so quiet and modest, and he also doesn't like to be talked about. So I prefer to piss him off and talk about him.
Well, okay, so I'll cut all that out. Don't worry about it.
No, that's great. No, but leave it in. Well, and then leave in. Now, what else can I tell you about Michael Hers?
Well, we can change this to Herscast if you like. Just yes. Talk about yeah.
Well, we have a character in Herskopf in what the hell is it? I think it's in Return to Nukem High and Return to Nukem High. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's in. No, wait a minute. I can't remember what movie it's in. But there's the evil character that runs. Yeah. Anyway, I can't remember which one, but it's called Herskopf. And I portray the monster that it ends up being. I can't quite remember what movie. It may be Return to Nukem High or Return to Nukem High. It might have been that. Not sure.
Well, I don't. They kind of run together to me, but it's one of the two. I do remember it because I remember laughing about it with Justin afterwards because we found it funny that the villain's name was named after you and Michael.
Well, Justin Martell is the person you were referring to, whom you're referring. Yeah, well, he did a great job on those two movies. Very young and had a nasty crew from Los Angeles who were the DP was good, but a really nasty group. they could eat. Justin would coin the mantra. They won't eat off. These are the LA people for whom we gave rented a special house with carpet, and they each had their own bed. And in the morning, they had to have fresh fruit and vegetables. Justin got that. We totally, and we meanwhile sleeping in a funeral home, with one shower for about 80 people, and they never they wouldn't eat our food, but they'd fuck our women. And that was Justin Martell had described the situation, and he handled it. And he really young because I was paralyzed with the I kind of have a hot button, and I didn't want to destroy the movie. I've sent them all back to and Justin got through the movie and made two movies out of it, and now he and Matt Mangiarides, and in fact the Joe Bob Briggs Last Drive-In show is all Troma alumni. The whole thing, even the art director Yuki was on the show, and John Brennan wrote the music. It's a real Troma legacy.
Everyone down to me doing the transcriptions of the movies.
Yeah, the world truly is that big, and I love it.
It's tiny.
Speaking of, I'm jumping way ahead, but we're talking about Troma alum James Gunn, who, he's now the head of DC, and he had a little movie called Superman out this summer. I was watching the original Toxic Avenger this morning, and at one point, someone's talking about the Toxic Avenger to the mayor, and he says, we can't just kill him, or we have to kill him. And the mayor said Lex Luthor's line from the new movie, the new Superman film, it's not a man, it's an it. We have to kill it.
Yes.
Yeah, I put on the brakes there. I'm like, well, that's a legacy.
You can take the boy out of Troma, but you cannot take the Troma out of the boy. James Gunn, by the way, he was nice enough to invite us to the red carpet for the first episode of Peacemaker in New York, and just like last week. And he also, it was his birthday, so we flew in a bunch of his friends and took them down to the Troma building in Hell's Kitchen, where we all worked before we moved out to Queens. And he showed them where Michael's office. Well, Michael and I had the same office, and what floor he, went back to the old neighborhood. So I was very honored by that. It made me feel good.
Well,
good guy. He's a good guy. He's a truly good guy. And all those big stars, they love him, not just for his talent, but he's a good guy, James Gunn. And his best friend he met on Romeo and Juliet, Stevie Blackheart, and his wedding had Jane Jensen from Romeo and Juliet, and of course his brother Sean Gunn, who's now a big shot, and was in Romeo and Juliet, and it was a great reunion, and we occasionally see each other. In fact, I'm going to see Jane Jensen in Baltimore in about 2 weeks. It'll be a great reunion.
Cool. I want to start. Well, first of all, I need to introduce the rest of the crew. Sorry, Lloyd, I introduced you and then not the other folks here, although they know who these guys are.
Well,
Mark, the movie.
I'm a narcissist, so you know how we are. I started the Association of Narcissists.
Well, I've got a big enough ego for, I think, all of us. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm glad we're not in the same box here duking it out. No, we have Mark, the movie man Krawcheck of Special Mark Productions and the Spoiler Room podcast. Welcome, sir. How you doing?
Hello. Happy to be here.
Excellent. And we have Joe Randazzo of The Last Drive-In, The Power of Positive Murder, and also the Spoiler Room podcast. So welcome, Joe. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
All right. Well, as we typically do, we look at, where I think we start off with the original film and then we kind of get into the remake. And tonight will be no exception. Going back to the early 1980s, this film was originally called, I think, Health Club Horror, if I'm not mistaken, and later became the Toxic Avenger. Lloyd, I want to ask you, when you were starting out this movie with Michael Hers, and putting it together, and even during filming it, did you have any idea that decades later people would be talking about it? It would have sequels, a cartoon show, a comic book, a book about making the movie, and also, most importantly, I think, Funko Pop action figures. Did you have any conception that this would become something, or you're like, oh, this is a kind of a quote unquote fun, down and dirty little movie that we're doing to make a name for ourselves?
Woody Allen and I are similar in that we both believe that our most recent film is going to be great, that it is great. And I've been touting the Toxic Avenger since 1984, and he's our Mickey Mouse. He's in our logos. I knew it, but I believe all the films that Michael and I have produced, directed, written, or whatever, are brilliant. Terra Firma made 1999. Terra Firma, it's great, and it just broke even after all these years. It takes time for the word of mouth, you see. But our movies, I feel that the one we just finished, Power of Positive Murder, which right now looks like an abortion, but I do believe it will be our best film, whether or not. Well, all our movies lose money anyways. Joe knows, but by the way, Joe and Shanta, the beautiful Shanta, are in the Power of Positive Murder, and thank you very much, Joe. They were in the big battle scene, the amazing battle scene.
It was an honor to be there for you.
Well, thank you, Joe. You're a good guy.
Thank you.
Well, so Toxie is your Mickey Mouse, which is a great image. But the film starts out as you've got Melvin Ferd, later Melvin Junko, who's the kind of the nerdy janitor at this health club in Tromaville, which is the toxic waste dump capital of the world. It's located in New Jersey. Melvin is taunted by the kind of the gym bros and gym bunnies. One day, a terrible prank is played on him. He gets humiliated. He runs through a hallway, jumps through a plate glass window, and lands in a vat of toxic waste, and is transformed after running, flaming down the street. In a sequence I had kind of forgotten about, but it's so impressive, where he or the stunt person was on fire running through town. It transforms into this giant hulking, growling beast with a incongruous kind of dulcet, nice guy voice, and he feels compelled to destroy evil, as a local psychiatrist puts it, in the most gruesome and horrifying fashion imaginable. He uses this power to fight corruption. He gets a girlfriend named Sarah who's blind. He meets her during a restaurant rescue, and he at the end of the film, spoiler alert for the spoiler tag is on, but if you haven't seen Toxic Avenger, A, why are you watching this, and B, what's wrong with you? He destroys, he eviscerates the town mayor, then brings justice and peace back to Tromaville, at least until the sequels. But I saw this movie. I got a VHS of it when I was 13 years old. And I think for my 13th birthday. And I remember watching it with my mom, who was kind of hip into these horror movies and things. And yeah, it's the same. I went to see Ghost with her that same year, and that was uncomfortable. We broke a lot of ice during my formative years as far as watching uncomfortable things together. But this movie kind of changed the way I thought about movies. I think it's the most graphic thing I'd ever seen, because I saw the unrated version of it. It made me rethink superheroes and what those could be. So yeah, it's a kind of a special movie. It's got a special place in my heart, but I hadn't really remembered until I watched it today how like sleazy and raw it is, and just nasty. And there's a great contrast between Troma and what's going on there, and the Toxic Avenger and what he tries to do to clean up the town, because there's a lot of work to do. Joe and Mark, what were your kind of first impressions or memories of watching the film?
Well, I was watching the cartoon series first. So it would have been probably around the same time, around 1990. I would have been 9 years old. And my parents allowed me to rent the Toxic Avenger from the video store, because they just knew about the Toxic Crusaders and the cartoon show. We don't even get to the head getting crushed before my parents. It was during the initial scene where Melvin walks in on
the couple.
The couple, that my mom went, okay, yeah, this is getting returned now. But my parents went to a wedding that weekend, and my brother and I rented it again. And we watched it in all its head-crushing glory. And you fat slob, you don't have any guts, still sticks out to me from that viewing. I remember sitting on my living room floor in my parents' house watching that scene. And I think I told Lloyd, that's what I bet him. I'm like, I realized I had to watch Troma movies after that, because I'm like, oh my God, same as you. I hadn't seen anything like that. I'd seen like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and the Friday the 13th movies, but even those, even the Friday the 13th movies, which are kind of sleazy and they're kind of raw for like a major studio movie. This is something I hadn't seen before. This was down and dirty, and I think that I had an appreciation immediately for it, because it just felt more real.
Yeah.
Yes,
real in terms of the graphic, but also kind of heightened in terms of the kind of the cartooniness of the world they're in. It's a cool contrast. Yeah. Sorry, Lloyd, go ahead.
The cartoony part is like to say it's so real and then say cartoony. You're right. It's yin and yang kind of, because there were serious issues in that movie. The whole environmental thing, the corporate thing, the bureaucratic elite. It's all wrapped up in The Silent Spring by Rachel Carlson, which I read in whatever the hell Carson, whatever her name is, that I read in 8th grade, that stayed with me, and I see it happening everywhere we go. The environment is getting fucked up, and that was what kind of initiated the Toxic Avenger. Well, also, Michael Hers read in Variety that horror films were not commercial anymore, and we were making raunchy comedies, and the major studios were copying us, except they were using good scripts and good actors. So we had to try to go to something else, and we said, okay, the experts are talking about the horror films are dead. Let's make a horror film. But we like comedy, and I've got this political background, so wanted to, that's what we made, and we like the romance, and the idea that I wrote a script for Stan Lee a long time ago, Night of the Witch, in which the witch only kills bad people. It was written around 1970, but that's where the Toxic thing, the Tromatons, Toxic can't help himself. So he's not really, he hasn't had the Joycean epiphany that Dinklage's Toxic has in Macon Blair's movie, which to me is a more exciting way, because this janitor who's has nothing going. Now he's able to change the world, make a difference, and he's doing it on his own brain. He doesn't have traumatons that force him to kill bad people. It's a very interesting, different kind of pathos. And also, Macon Blair creates the stepson. So there's the familial pathos, which is a beautiful thing, because having a stepson is tough enough. But, at that age, stepsons can be difficult. And then, all the other, the young woman, and, it's great. It's terrific. It's really, really good. And I hope this catapults Macon Blair into the James Gunnosphere. They would love each other, too. If they worked together, they would have so much fun, and they would make something really, really good. And they wouldn't, they could do it. They'd create something that would become a super duper franchise.
It's too bad. I was going to say it's too bad that.
Yeah, go on. I talk too much.
Oh no, I was going to say it's too bad James Gunn isn't in a position to hire Macon Blair to maybe work on a movie.
Well, I don't know what happened to James Gunn since then, but I tell you, they'd be a good combo.
But you bring that up. It's been a theme, I guess, throughout your entire career for the last 40 years of the idea of the little guy who may appear to be nothing becoming something bigger. It's even kind of the focus of your books. No, you can go out there and make your own movie and make something of yourself in this industry, even if you don't have access to, money, studios, to any of that stuff. So it's funny. I just knowing you for over a decade, and it's just now dawned on me as we're speaking now, because you even have a scene in the original Toxic Avenger towards the end where you got the kid from the restaurant, the cop, and everybody just going, "What are we going to do? We're just small people. We can't do anything to change perception." And then they go out and do it.
Yeah, well, it takes them a little bit of courage, but the whole idea that you have to listen to, your oligarchs, or your big police, you have to listen. They know better. The mayor, he knows better. We have to obey the mayor. He's a fat pig. So that's the way it is. Unfortunately, you got this Trump people like sheep. It's terrible. Scared shit. Where are all the celebrities who go blah blah blah? We need more DEI, and they didn't say a word on the Oscars. Nothing. Joe, if that was you, you'd be fighting a good fight with a mop probably.
I'm told to shut up often.
Toby, what do you say? Toby, have you seen the new Toxic Avenger?
Of course, I saw it yesterday.
And I say, and I'm going on record, I don't know if anybody's actually said put this out, but Macon's is a better movie. It's a real movie. It's not just a cartoon famous for a full head squashing, which, by the way, Spielberg's now doing one. So the head squashings had a big, there's so many head squashings going on that we have to move it into some other area. But what do you say? I think the new one is a real film.
I think yours is a real film too. It does have a good solid narrative structure. Even yours version does. So I realize you're being kind of self-deprecating, but there's a reason that 40 years later we still remember your film. We still talk about your film.
Well,
I love both. I love the new one too. What I appreciate most about it is that it's not just a carbon copy of yours. Macon Blair does do his own thing. And again, spoilers. It does subvert your expectations because you do get the blind woman in the restaurant and you're like, oh, okay, she's going to become Toxic. Oh no, she's not. Everything that does happen, you do there are similar things, like you kind of substitute the stepson for the mother. Although the stepson is more accepting than the mother was.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I like that they're two different films. You can watch them back to back and you won't be bored because it's not the same story. There are certain things that are the same, but yeah, absolutely love them both.
By the way, go on.
No, you please, sir.
Just so you know, there are two, I don't know how you would call them, but they work for Troma. They should be on, nobody would hire them for sure, but on their very own, they found the original script called Mr. Melvin, which was supposed to be kind of a road show, like the old days when you at Radio City Music Hall, you'd have a 2-hour show and they could sell popcorn and we'd put in an intermission and we could have fun with that. But the theaters would not take from us a longer movie. So we had to make two movies. Toxie 1, he goes to Japan, and Toxie 3 becomes a yuppie. But these two guys, one of whom stars in Power of Positive Murder, and he's brilliant, and the other one is producing the new Poultrygeist reimagining by Mercedes the Muse. They, on their own, they recreated the original script and put it into the original version, Mr. Melvin, which is currently being screened in various theaters now, and doing quite well. It's very good, and a lot of people like Toxic 1 the best, but it may well be that that Mr. Melvin is the best. Although I don't know, I was going to ask you guys, what if you've seen all the Toxic Avengers, which one do you think is the best? And then I will reveal Toxie's favorite.
It's a tough call. I still have to go with the original quite a bit. That one's the one that opened up the door to me. You sir, have defined a lot of my viewing as a child. I watched both Toxic Avenger, Kabuki Man, all of the earlier properties I watched as a kid. I'd rent them. My dad didn't care what I watched. I mean, I went to see Conan They took me to see Conan the Barbarian when I was 7. So in the theater. So, I was
Stone. Hey, Oliver Stone started with me, you see.
And
didn't he write that one?
I think he did.
Yeah.
And your films have always showed me that there was more to than just what we were being fed by the studios. This kind of punk rock, balls to the wall. We're just going to make our own picture. And I loved that energy. And so I consumed a lot of Troma, and I would say Toxie 1 is still my favorite. I enjoy all of them, but Toxie 1 definitely, it has that such a genuine fun to it that you're just watching it, that, even when you get to the nude scenes, the exploitation elements that a lot of people talk about with B horror and B movies nowadays, those are even done in a fun way, not necessarily sexy way. They're done in a fun way. So for me, it'd be 1.
Same here. Part 1 for me. I love it more than any of the other films in the series. So I guess I would be that one, and then I guess the 4th would be my next favorite, Citizen Toxie.
Yeah, I got to go with 1 as well. Especially, I hadn't watched it in a long time before revisiting it this morning as preparation for this podcast, and not only did it bring back the weird nostalgia, which is a strange thing to say about the Toxic Avenger, but also I just appreciated the warmth especially between Toxie and Sarah. I mean, a lot of it is kind of played for laughs and jokes,
Yes.
but there's a real
Yeah.
heart in the middle of this movie that you wouldn't expect just like looking at the box art or even watching the first 10 minutes of the movie. You're like, oh, this is going to be dumb, exploitative, cheesy stuff, but it's super sweet, which I think that spirit kind of carries over into the remake, which we'll get to
Absolutely.
in a couple minutes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
who's Toxie's favorite, Lloyd? Which one? I'm sorry, which one?
Well, Toxie seems to like Citizen Toxie because it's seems to be everything that happened in that is to the 10th degree right now. There's school shootings, the abortion has been illegal now. And plastic surgery. These women look like some kind of weird cult with those big lips they got, and it's nothing's it's evident, and the environment is horrendous. And the power of positive murder, which I'm editing now. Not I, but we've got about 20 people who think they know what they better than I. They and we are editing a Troma team, but it's very depressing. It's based on Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. So there's only one banana peel, Joe. I'm sorry, only one time that somebody. Well, Joe, you've probably seen a cut of it, but
I have not seen a
there's
cut of
only
it
one
yet. I didn't
banana
realize there was a
peel.
cut of it available.
Well, for you, I could send you one for notes if you want to see it.
I'd love to take a look at it. I'll email you later after the podcast.
Yeah, good. Shanta will give you the truth, though. It stinks. Anyway, luckily there are no cameras or recordings.
She was so happy at the end of that. I was standing outside the. You guys were under the tent shooting her scenes, and I was just because I knew she was just in pasties and it was freezing out there, so I was waiting there with a blanket, just waiting for her to come out because I was like, I know she's going to be shivering when she does. It was amazing.
It's like the dog days of summer, and suddenly decided to go down to 30 degrees or something.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But that's a Troma excitement about them.
Yeah.
Those are the memories, the postcards, like Shirley MacLaine's movie. Those are the postcards of your mind. You make.
Yeah, I'll take a look at a cut of it with Shanta next time I see her. It'll be fun.
Good.
We can
Well,
take a look.
remind me.
I'll send you an email tonight.
Yeah. And you have to be truthful.
Well,
you don't have to be truthful. No, I'm joking. Be truthful. All right, next question.
well, okay.
Sorry.
So no, I mean, as far as the film, it kind of became this pop culture sensation, but it was very graphic. There was like the unrated version, and then there was like an R-rated version. And some of those scenes were pretty controversial. I mean, the scene where in the restaurant, there's the death of the dog. There's the kid getting run over by the bicycle. Like, were these kind of fights that you were prepared to have with censors, or did you care about that? You're just kind of going for broke to make the movie that you wanted to make, or was there any concern while you were making it that this could be a bit much?
It's a very good question. Now, The Thing came out in 1982. And I'm sorry, but the violence in that movie was, I don't think there's anything in that movie that is worse than what we put in the Toxic Avenger. Maybe you make a little trim of the head crushing or something. In France, the Toxic Avenger had 30 seconds cut out of it, and 13-year-olds could see it. In Canada, they're supposed to be similar to our country. They cut out 45 seconds. In the United States of America, the Motion Picture Association of America, which is owned and controlled by the devil-worshipping oligopoly that controls the media, they cut out like 20 minutes. So the movie looked like fuck when they played in the theaters. We had to get an R rating. So the movie got fucked. So did my brother, Charles Kaufman's movie, Mother's Day, and When Nature Calls. And every movie we made, Troma's War was cut off at the legs. And there's, when Bruce Willis's movie,
Die Hard.
Die Hard, it got serious kneecaps on the wall and whatever. we had to cut out punches where people spit out chiclets. I mean, we had to cut out a dead body with maggots. Give me a break. And it's a joke. Troma's War is a satire. Anyway, they killed every movie we had. So that's the problem. But now, good news, they pretty much killed the independent industry. So unless you're with one of the big companies, you should do it yourself, boys. Do it yourself. And people are doing that because you don't need money now. All you need is a telephone, but you have to have something to say, and there you have to read books and watch whatever Sinners. You got to watch movies.
Yeah, and actually have an appreciation for them and be able to tell a story, which, yeah, like you said, you got to have something to say. And Kevin Smith's talked about the same thing with his movies, how he'll his movies, because they were independent, when they're independently made, he has a hard time getting an R rating, and then he'll go see something that's like a major studio movie, and he'll be like, wait, they made me cut out less than that.
Yeah, well, I had a conversation with John Waters. He said even when he was with a big New Line, they still fucked with his movies. But they certainly didn't fuck with him the way they fucked with our movies. Jesus Christ. My brother, he should have had a career. He's incredibly talented. I should have had a career, but I'm not great. I'm not incredibly talented, but I know talent. I do know talent, and I proved it. A lot of famous people come out of other movies.
And that's what I've always loved about your films and films like the Roger Cormans and even John Water. The talent that comes out of your movies, you give people a chance where big studios wouldn't. And that's what I always love about indie films, especially indie horror and comedy, is you manage to give these folks a platform, an opportunity to show their talent. And so many big names and such have come from films like yours, and people crap on indie films or indie horror. Oh, why would I watch that? And you're like, who came from that, right? Would be my argument.
Yeah, it's a good argument. And Troma Now is the hot new. Well, it's been around for 15 years, but it's moving up. It's a streaming service, and there are a number of movies by my proteges, like Curse of the Weird Deer, which is anti-hunting, and Feartown, USA, and The Slashing by new young directors who are going to move up the food chain to James Gunn. Check out or tell your viewers, Troma Now. It's free the first month. It's a free app, and then you pay $4.99 a month. And for the price of a Troma Blu-ray, you can get a whole year pretty much. Or 4K is more expensive. Anyway, it's well worth it. And if you can't pay, you put in another email. You make up an email, put it, Gmail, whatever. You put it in. You can get as many months as you want. That's what Joe and I do, right, Joe?
That's how
Shanta's too honest. She pays.
Hey, I actually my most recent residual check was actually from you from Troma Now for Dracula's Lawyer, where you play a judge. It's a film we met on. I was one of the writers, and and Dave Canfield directed it, and that's when you and I met. Ashley Ren Collins.
Are you telling me you actually got paid something?
Yeah, I actually have a check from Troma.
If you want, I can cut that part out too. If you want to forget about it,
I got one from MGM. I got one for Rocky V for 1 penny, and Michael framed it. How was the check from Troma Now? What did you get?
You paid me better than MGM paid you.
See how nice Joe is. He's a nice guy. But it was anyway. You have more eyeballs, and Troma Now is growing. So please. Tell your podcast fans to check out Troma Now. There's really buried treasure. Not to mention, you got Frankenhooker and Basket Case and Maniac. A lot of the classics have come to Troma Now because we're honest. I mean, because we're the last ones. I mean, Kevin Smith will tell you why. But he's got the right idea. He worked in a friggin' video store, and he listened, and he gave it back like a really good philosopher, and stand-up comedian, and and satirist. It's a brilliant movie, and the guy's a genius. He's great.
Well, first of all, I will have a link to Troma Now down in the description so folks can go check it out.
Oh, great,
And
great.
and also, so I want to kind of move on to the remake of the Toxic
Wait a minute.
Avenger.
Wait just to cut and pick a minute. It's a reimagining. It has lots of trauma callbacks, and Macon's a huge. And that whole cast are they have drilled down deep into the trauma oeuvre, but it's really a reimagining. It's a totally different movie, and I think it's terrific. I mean, the cast and Macon have, and Legendary had the guts to finance it, and they have really made it their own, and it's brilliant. It's great. So I just wanted to say that.
No,
Now I'll try to shut up.
no, it's
I'm
a
really
good correction
saying
because
very
you're right.
thank-
It is a reimagining, and as it was either Mark or Joe, you called it, or we were talking about it being a real movie. Both films are real movies, but this one has the I don't know, it carries over the heart. It really ramps up the production value. I was floored when I saw the Legendary logo coming up on the screen. I was like, wait a second. There's some really, I don't know what the budget on this thing was, but it looks like a lot of good money was poured into it, especially with like getting Peter
50,
Dinklage and
I think it was like $50 million.
Oh wow.
But Mimi, the boss, and Alejandro Garcia. Alex is really the driving force, I think, and they just went with Macon's vision, and they came up with all this money, and they've made a movie that is really a masterpiece. I would challenge anybody to find something better right now. It's terrific.
well, let me ask you about how this came about. I mean, did you have a relationship with him beforehand, or did he just write this and send it to you? Did you collaborate on, hey, we should do something together?
No, legendary Alex Garcia came to us, and uh, they were interested in Toxic Avenger as a movie, and then we chatted and blah blah blah, and we realized, hey, this could be very good, and and then they came up with Macon Blair. So when I had seen his movies, and I was a big admirer. I never met him, but I subsequently went to Austin and we met, and he's a big fan, and he's brilliant. I don't want to live in this place anymore, Daddy, or whatever it's called. And the guy is he'll be next James Gunn, and he sticks to his gun, and he's a people person. And he lives in Austin, Texas. He's got a family, and a good guy, a real good guy, and he and the cast are solid. The Toxic Avenger cast, they really gave the project everything they could, and bravo, the legendary let Macon Blair and Alec Garcia run with us, and Alec called me the day we opened in August 29th. He was shooting another Godzilla movie for Legendary, and he said, hey, this is the summit of his career, this Toxic Avenger. So that means a lot to a sad old man. Never has his. Oh, wait a minute. Regarding Roger Corman, he and Stan Lee helped Troma so much over the years, and you should definitely hear that. Stan is the reason we got on Marvel Comics, and Roger helped us a lot with advice about foreign sales, and his last on-screen credit is with Lily Hayes Kaufman's documentary Occupy Cannes, about our last year at the Cannes Film Festival, which is a very funny and educational and kind of bittersweet. But it's in festivals now, and I'm going to play on, get on Netflix or whatever.
I'm looking
It's
forward to
very
seeing
good.
that
If
one.
you want to see it, just email me. I can send it to her. She might be an interesting customer, having gone to, Duke and Harvard and blah, blah, blah. Junior league debutante. Having grown up in and she's making a documentary about the difference between the commissioner and me, the world of commissioners, where she meets Woody Allen, what have you, and me, who's deep in the reeds of, in blood-sucking freaks land. And she's been creating a documentary about that for a long time. And she came out to San Diego Comic-Con, and the cast told their groomers to let us film the behind the scenes of us, the cast, getting ready to go in Hall H and present a panel in front of 6,500 people in San Diego Comic Con. And the cast was nice enough to and to tell their groomers to, who were also very, very nice. All the PR people for Legendary and Cineverse were so lovely. And they let my daughter and a little camera crew come in and film behind the, not anything they wanted. And so my daughter's been working on that. Occupy Can might be an interesting panel for you because you may, feel that the Cannes Film Festival is a bit corporate these days, and this. But you can also see that Troma is equally as asshole as Cannes.
Yeah, I've been hearing about the Occupy Can for quite some time, so I'm excited to eventually see it because I've been seeing the buzz about it and such.
Well, email me. Yeah, it's going to Sid Chess, and it was at Fantasia, and now it's going to somewhere else. It's going to sort of the genre festivals, and hopefully somebody takes it. And the other daughter, Charlotte Kaufman, uh, who didn't become a refused to be a debutante, but she made a movie called The Alabama Solution with Andrew Jarecki, who made Finding the Freedmans and also invented Movie Phone and also made the Jinxed, which was a wonderful series on HBO. And he and Charlotte Kaufman produced the second Jinx, which is very good. And now they're going to have their documentary, which got standing ovation at Cannes, called The Alabama Solution. It's going to be on HBO October 5th. And it's very, very heartbreaking. And you can see clearly Charlotte Kaufman lived in Alabama and made friends with the prisoners, and they gave her cell phone footage, and it's a Victorian zoo, and the prison system in the United States of America, all over, it's horrendous. It's a disgrace. It's a gulag. You go to the gulag. I mean, it's really awful. Except for the rich white people, they get sent to Connecticut or whatever. They get to go to the country clubs, and also the pedophiles apparently too.
I can neither confirm nor deny that. But so I gotta ask about. So Legendary came to you, and you guys work out a deal to do a new Toxie. And Macon Blair wrote the script and he directed the movie. Did he consult you as far as getting your input or reading the script or being on set or anything like that? You have a cameo towards the end of the film, which is great, but were you creatively involved at all, or literally did you sign the paperwork to let them do it and then you showed up for your cameo and then you watched the movie when it came out?
I don't think I can't remember if Macon Blair asked me for any advice, but being who I am, I sent him notes, which he smartly, intelligently ignored, and it's his film. It's his film, 100%. I met with him and the cast. I sort of, they're nice people and they love Troma. That's about it. And the people in Bulgaria, I went to Bulgaria at my own expense, of course, but I got a free hotel. And the food was very nice. The on-set food was very good, better than Troma's on-set food, that's for sure. And and the crew was they were all Troma fans, even though there's no, other than the gift of piracy, there's no Troma in Bulgaria. And most of them spoke English, and it was you could see there was great camaraderie, and they had built a set of Tromaville Street. It was terrific. We were lucky. I think whether or not this movie is a hit, it doesn't matter. It's a great movie, and it will endure, and it'll be a trendsetter. And and the transformation, that alone could be in a museum, in the Whitney Museum in New York, which is they do a big video season with the great. That transformation could be art. And it's shocking. It's everything. You know, the first one, our movie, The Transformation, where Toxie's in the bathtub and his skin bubbles. In its day, that was innovative. You know, nobody saw that. That was a big deal. But and of course got cut out by an MPAA. But nonetheless, it's eye popping. But it ain't. You know, I mean, it made art and unrated in a beautiful way, and cycles in the Troma, the original Ball Mountain music from Toxie One.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty sophisticated and yet beautiful and yet shocking. I think good stuff, and you know, good for him. Good guy and a good guy. You know, he's great, absolutely good guy.
Well, as far as that transformation goes, I mean, there's a whole scene where Peter Dinklage is underneath the water submerged in the toxic, waste. And it reminded me almost of some of the interstitials from Creep Show, that kind of twisted, vibrant greens and purples, and the shocked expression on the face, and all this craziness going on. But when he emerges as the Toxic Avenger, he's got green skin. He looks more like the Toxic Crusader or the Marvel Comics kind of iteration, rather than the brown kind of flesh pustules that you'd see in the original film. It helps, I think, to give this movie its own signature, because I was kind of dreading seeing this reimagining, because the original Toxie is so great. And even though this is being touted as unrated, I thought, can you really recapture that? Can you have that kind of nasty underground spirit to a film? And there is that peppered throughout this movie. It does have that kind of slick, Hollywood patina to it, but it does feel sort of rebellious, considering a lot of the mainstream stuff we've gotten, in the last decade or so. And I was really struck by, again, the relationship between the Peter Dinklage character and his son, played by Jacob Tremblay. That was really kind of touching, and that was a really neat through line. And then you've got Kevin Bacon as the head of BTH, the cosmetic, or no, it's like a supplements company. And when I found out, I don't remember if this is in the beginning of the film or towards the end, but when we find out what BTH stands for, I nearly lost my mind. Body Talk Health Style. Body Talk, of course, is the song that opened up, the original Toxic Avenger, and is still catchy as hell. But this movie, it's not just a reference fest. It's not a remake. There are some touchstones as far as the story, like they do have a restaurant scene, which has a completely kind of new and different context. But it is its own film. You can't watch this and say, oh, I've already seen this before, because you haven't in almost any aspect of the filmmaking.
Yeah, and that's what I really liked about it. And you've been seeing it a little bit hit here and there over the years. And I was wondering if Lloyd, because Lloyd, you've been in the business for quite some time, making rebellious films and B horror and all of these films, making your own damn movie. It seems like the trend from folks enjoying the direct-to-video stuff to it tapering off, going, oh, I can't watch that. There seems to be a growing appreciation over the last few years of a little bit more Troma-esque films, or Troma films in general. There seems to be a growing appreciation again. Have you run across that as you've been touring the cons and that more and more people seem to be enjoying the films again, like rediscovering them?
Well, Troma now is doing great. Recently, it's had a huge uptick in the paid subscription, so people are sticking, and it's growing, and it is slightly profitable, which is unique in the world of streaming services. So please thank your fans for supporting us. Appreciate it. But yeah, I think the mainstream is incorporated. I'm watching. What am I watching now? And it's a monkey. What is it? Monkey. Bad Monkey. And they they fish, and it's an arm that they're on a fishing boat. One of those things you sign up for, I think, or a yacht and they catch a severed arm with a middle finger sticking up. You know, they had to see Troma movies. You know, we've had that joke so many times. And it works, though. It's funny as fuck. Somebody says, wait a minute, that's not a fish. That was terrific. You know, I wish I would have used that one somewhere. And so you see Troma a lot. And these people are in our films. My wife just ran into Vincent D'Onofrio, and he loves the whole Troma world and spreads you know, a lot of those people who started with us, they talk about Troma a lot. And if you look at my IMDb, you know, I get to be in a lot of movies. You know, I don't get paid usually, but it's fun. And I can learn from the fans. Most of them are young directors. I'm just going to go and get a quick, somebody else talk. Talk.
Sure.
I
I
think the
can do that.
pathos is very important. You're right. And Tremblay is an amazing kid. I did a shout out to him he was on the panel. You know, the kid's like 18 or something, and he did the movie. He was 17. So I mean, he's a kid with a brain I mean, a real smart. I'll be right back. Forgive me.
No worries.
Keep talking.
Yep. So Joe,
Yeah.
you saw the movie yesterday. I think you're the freshest out of all of us, possibly. What was your reaction to watching it?
I love the reference to body talk. That's the thing. Is basically the way you put it. Is that it has a lot of Troma Easter eggs, but it doesn't just become like a nonstop reference to Troma movies. You do have the like in the original Toxic Avenger, you have the guy who's doing all the flips and everything, and he's doing all the parkour, but he's not relegated to just that one scene. He's part of the main cast of villains. Who is this rock group? What was the name of it? Something the Killer Nuts.
Yeah, the Killer Nuts.
Killer Nuts.
Killer Nuts. And I love that again. They pulled that from the original movie, and it's something that they do, something that they put in there, but they did it in a completely different way. The restaurant scene is also in there, and I mean that's probably the one. Maybe that's the most infamous scene from the original movie too. I mean, I don't. You know, I was 4 when the movie first came out, so I wouldn't know what. But it's whenever I think of the Toxic Avenger, it's one of the scenes that I immediately think of. So that's in there, but again, it's subversion of expectations because you expect it to. There are points where things happen. You go, oh, okay, it's going to happen exactly the same way as the Toxic Avenger, and then it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what stands out to me most about it is and also the fact that like I'm looking up and I see Troma Entertainment on the big screen, and then you see Kevin Bacon, Elijah Wood,
Peter Dinklage,
Peter Dinklage, Jacob Tremblay, and I'm like, what is this?
Well, also, I think that the key that's important to that is that these aren't just. I hate the expression, "Oh, the actors seem like they were having a good time," because oftentimes when I hear that, it's like, yeah, I just wish I had a good time watching them. But you know, Bacon, Wood. That sounds so strange. All these big actors, Peter Dinklage, it felt to me watching it like they were taking the material seriously, as ridiculous as it was. I mean, Elijah Wood created a real character as the the strange, pseudo henchman brother of Kevin Bacon's character, and he had kind of a strange little arc, even though he sort of did get a comeuppance at the end. I really enjoyed it. When I first saw him in those stills, I thought, oh, he's going to be a cameo, kind of a one and done henchman who gets his head squished or something. But it's a real part. And the whole idea of there being another villain coming up against Toxie, who isn't just like the mayor or the businessman, but someone who got a hold of the toxic waste and mutated himself. It did remind me of kind of like Jim Carrey's The Mask from 94. But in the sort of the Troma spirit of it, because I want to see that nastiness up on screen executed that way, where it's not just a PG-13 cartoon, and I was totally satisfied when, again, spoilers, he gets ground up into a car engine and spun around like a blood sprinkler. It's beautiful. I'm like, I'm watching this at an AMC theater. How is this possible?
That's what I love about we've seen that peppered throughout, but especially here. My son, who's 25, he has select taste. He enjoyed Toxic Avenger, the 2025 version. He hadn't seen the original yet, but he saw this one and he gave it, I think, 4 out of 5 for him, which is saying a lot. He's usually very critical of films, but he had a lot of fun with it. So, what you did in this 2025 version is speaking to a younger audience who may have been influenced by their parents who showed them certain films, not but we've seen it peppered before, like with Cocaine Bear that came out. When I watched that, I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this movie in a theater. Or you even get The Green Inferno, which was a cannibal film, which I was watching that got wide release. Occasionally we get
started with Troma, and that Cocaine Bear, that woman had to have seen Troma movies. I'm sorry, that was so fucking Troma. There's no way she couldn't have seen. There's nobody else doing what we did,
Right, and that's what I love is
Cocaine Bear was great. It was
was
the best.
And we see those influences throughout, and seeing it in here, it was more than just a gimmick to gimmick film. Toxic Avenger 2025, they committed to gimmicks and they carried throughout the film, which is what I think some movies that try to do this type of film forget is if you're going to do the gimmick, like we had the mop in 20, that's Toxie's major weapon. Yeah. That stays consistent throughout. He doesn't just use it at the restaurant. It's his major identity and weapon throughout the entire film. That's right. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch both of these movies back to back and feel like, yeah.
It's cool that Macon didn't resort to, he kept it kind of low tech. He combined a bit of, the new magic, but he keeps it. It's a mop. That's terrific. With what's going on with the typical superhero movie, there's no way you can compete. So make it fun. It kind of it's like Bertolt Brecht. You sort of satire as a weapon, and we use it against Trump now in Troma movies. You can't stop satire.
Well, as far as like the communal experience, I mean, I did see this on an afternoon show. There's a decent crowd for a Friday afternoon. But what I love,
where were you?
I was at the AMC Village Crossing in Skokie, Illinois, which is where I'm recording from right now.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell Michael Herbst because he's the boss at Troma, and I'll give him the anecdotal information. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I thought was great was towards the, it was before the kind of climactic fight. There's the rock concert that kind of dissolves into mayhem. Devolves into mayhem. And at one point, the band member who's got the big chicken head costume on, he's being chased. He loses the chicken head, and you see what is going on underneath there. I won't spoil it. I know we're in spoiler territory, but I'll leave a little something for folks who haven't seen the remake. When we see what's underneath that mask and we hear the person/thing underneath there, the entire audience, they laughed, but there is also gasps like, what is that?
Macon Blair, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, the chicken-headed guy reminded me of a nod back to Poultrygeist, which I love. Poultrygeist.
Thank
yeah,
you.
No other movie will have a song about tossing salad ever, and
it's
I
pretty
love
witty,
it.
right? Gabe Friedman and I wrote the lyrics, so we found a guy up in Canada to put music to it. Terrific.
It was wonderful. So yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. There's a Poultrygeist 2 from the hen's point of view. It's by a gyno director, Mercedes the Muse, whose movies are on Troma now. She did another one for us called Rise of the Tromettes, and there are two other movies or three that she's made on her own that are on Troma. They're very, very good. She's got her own way of, she's an auteur sort of. So Poultry Guys, in fact, Andrew, my assistant, who didn't tell me about who you were, he he's producing this new Poultry Guys
Oh, nice.
reimagining, and he came up with a title because it's a women's Poultry Guys. The Henpire Strikes Back, and Mercedes refused the title, so I
Oh,
don't know what she wants to call it. But anyway, she's great. And
I love Mercedes, by the way. She's
oh,
fantastic.
good. I'm glad you do.
Uh,
It's. I think it's the only guy. It's just about finished filming. I hope.
What was it called? Rose and Victor was she. I have a Blu-ray of that one. That was might have been her
that's a
first movie.
great film.
It's,
It's on Troma now too. It's terrific. She's great. She's really good. She does her own thing. She doesn't take notes. I gave her one note for Poultry. I think she just wants to call it Poultry Guys 2 for now. But I gave her one note that I felt there has to be some kind of romance that all the world loves a lover. Hopefully she put it in. She said she would, but no other notes. She accepted no other notes. So she's tough. She's very tough.
Well, you got to be in the business, I would imagine. And guys, are there any other, I guess, thoughts on the reimagining of Toxic Avenger before we wrap up?
I'm just happy that people are making films like this still, and you're getting studios taking a chance and making stuff like Cocaine Bear. Even to a certain extent, Mad Max Fury Road, where they gave Miller creative license, and you watch that film and you go, this is not your normal studio film. And I am very happy to see these still being made, because it takes me back to being a kid.
Oh, Sinners, look at Sinners.
And Sinners,
This
yeah.
is fantastic.
And weapons, right? I mean, there's a whole how do you call it? Elevated horror, sort of really good stuff. And I think it's all sort of in the mainstream. And the reason is you've got competition. You got Netflix and streaming services and Troma now, and there's lots of Criterion, and the big guys who kind of own the media. They have to come up with stuff that competes for once. So we're getting good stuff now. Right.
Thing about weapons, and I haven't seen any reviewers bring it up yet, is it seems to be kind of inspired by Val Lewton, because you got the big bug-eyed voodoo zombies and the relatives of our main character, or in this case, the parents of the little boy being kept ill off camera, and I'm like, there's a lot of I walked with a zombie in this, and I
think you're right. I think you're right. The idea that you don't hit the public in the face with the monster. You like the movie you referred to, the cat's eyes, and later on it's just the cat's eyes. It's not like you don't even see the thing, but it creates that. You're right. I think Luton could well have influenced this guy whose name I forgot, but he's very, very good. He's great. And that woman played the aunt. They got it sounds like they're going to try to do a spinoff, that he's writing a spinoff for next year or 2 years down or something.
I like the movie. I don't want to ruin it with turning it into like a whole franchise.
Well, it's going to happen. I mean, it cost 38 mil, and it just crossed $250 million almost, or 200 million at the box office. So yeah, we're going to have.
Can you see how Toxic Avenger is doing? The new one.
I don't know if any numbers are out yet.
There were numbers that Weapons was top, but I think the Toxie showing was 18 mil over the weekend, if I read.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, who knows how many theaters? There may have been.
It was in a lot of theaters near me, but they were all like one showing a day.
Oh, excellent!
So it'd be like you have to see it at like 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. That was the.
Yeah, that's just when the people who want to see unrated films show up.
Well,
the matinee times, they can bring their children. Perfect. Great.
Well, for me out here,
my fans are sending me stuff where I was in the theater. I had to travel an hour and a half, and there were no posters of any promotion, and that kind of thing. But we had a great time. We loved the film, like that. So
I was way off on the box office, by the way, but that's okay.
well, don't say it probably stinks. But at any rate, what are you going to do?
But here's the thing about it is, even though the box office wasn't strong, it's certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes that everybody holds at the level of, a rating of seeing a movie if it's worth it.
I've seen the movie numerous times, and the focus groups. There was, focus groups for Troma fans. There were focus groups for old people, young people, and everybody was like over 90%. Whatever, 90% on those focus groups. So we knew that people liked the film, but if they have to see it at 2 p.m., don't people work? I mean, Troma fans. Most Troma fans are unemployed, but that's why we're Troma family. I've never had a job, so the point is, what can you do? It's that kind of thing. You can't, how are they going to compete with one show a day at 2 in the afternoon? But hey, they did a good job getting the word out. And maybe it'll keep going at 2 in the afternoon, or maybe they can move it to, 4 o'clock, or
7 p.m., 8 p.m. would be nice.
How about a Saturday at lunchtime or something?
Well,
no, I'm hearing the same thing, that people are either driving far away and there's no promotion, or it's one. There's like 10 movies on the marquee, and the theater only has 3 screens, so they have to. It's like almost like Netflix, where you movies.
The theater near me, which was the AMC Streets of Woodfield in Schaumburg, Illinois, had the posters up. I went at 4:30 yesterday, so yeah. All the AMCs near me were showing it. Cinemark was not, but there's like 5 AMCs near me. Every one of them had it. So
I'm on a Zoom. You could come and say a quick hello. You may want to meet a genuine commissioner.
I've met the commissioner a few times.
They're running out of time, but hold on. Here we are. Wait a minute. She didn't come in yet. Come in.
Oh, is she gone?
Yeah, she's good. Just coming in. She's a driver. She has a driver, of course. Dropped her off. She coming full. She's about to come in. But at any rate, you were saying something that was great.
Oh no, it was just that. Yeah, all the AMCs around me had it. I have one Cinemark and multiple AMCs near me. All the AMCs were showing it. The one that I went to did have a poster up for it.
It did or it didn't?
It did.
Oh, good. Well,
it did. I took the requisite selfie next to the TOXIC Avenger poster that everybody took.
Send it in. We'll put it on. I'll put it on my Instagram. Meanwhile, and thank you for that. Anyway, I should shut. Oh, here's the commissioner. Doesn't she
Hello.
Well, I don't look like right.
You know Joe, of course, and we're talking about the
met
new
her a couple
TOXIC
times.
Avenger.
Good. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, big fan.
We all did, as everybody seems to be. It's like 90% positive everywhere.
That's terrific. Yeah, I mean, it got a good score on Rotten Tomatoes, didn't it?
Yeah, great,
Yeah.
great.
It's hovering around 90%.
Sit down.
I mean, that's pretty darn good.
Tell us about what you know, what's going on. Yeah, no, it did. The problem is get closer. There's a special bonus for you, gentlemen. Get a real live commissioner. What's this thing here? Oh, okay, went away.
Yeah, we can see it.
We still got you. There you are.
You guys fine.
The TOXIC Avenger, the new TOXIC Avenger, it has pathos like the old TOXIC Avenger, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of. It's one of those things where you look at TOXIC Avenger 2025, and so many people put an emphasis on box office. And while making, seeing the film make money is nice, I guarantee you there will be people watching TOXIC Avenger 2025 10 years from now before they watch Avengers Endgame again. There will be people that'll be watching,
I like that.
they'll be watching those films more so than, maybe Weapons or whatnot won't get nearly as a rewatch or a rediscovery. Because Troma films, I talk to people all the time who know a Troma film of some sort that they still watch regularly.
Yeah.
Yet, the big studio stuff they don't rewatch, but Troma films and like Toxie are rewatchable. You always have fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I agree.
It's the spirit of the movies. There is that. Ian said it earlier, and I've heard it said about Troma a lot. There's the punk rock attitude of Troma movies. And you can't. I'm amazed that this was able to be recreated on a budget level of a legendary film.
Yeah,
you don't think of those movies as having that kind of spirit, yet this one does. And it feels like they just let Macon Blair do whatever he wanted, and that might have been the best choice. And hopefully, they let more filmmakers just do their thing. Let auteurs be auteurs.
Well, it is something that, and I know we're wrapping up here,
right?
Yeah.
but I just want to mention, because a lot of the headlines coming out of Hollywood is, these big blockbuster movies are not performing at the level that they were, 5-10 years ago. So there's talk of like, well, we got to make lower budget movies. And I think films like Weapons, like The Toxic Avenger, show that you can make a movie that is and feels and plays like a big mainstream movie, because that's what they are, at a quarter or a tenth of the budget of something like an Avengers Endgame. And people will come out and see it, as long as it's something interesting and captivating and new, and not just the same old flop.
I just did 4 theaters in British Columbia with the original Toxic Avenger. I travel along like Willie Loman and I'm selling merchandise. Every theater was full. And I ran out of merchandise pretty much at the first theater. So there's definitely people want to see that movie on the big screen, which is toxerific, And the new Macon's movie's gonna, we're gonna stand on Macon's shoulders and be like a pilot fish. She's the whale, or what do you call it, the white shark. Yeah. Anyway, I gotta go. We've got people coming over. Is that okay?
Yes, we've kept you way longer than we had expected to, and I definitely appreciate it. It was great meeting both of you. Thanks. This is a wonderful little cameo here. And folks out there, thank you for watching. Here we go again, The Toxic Avenger. I'd like to thank those who are watching. I am, of course, Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. We have Mark the Movie Man Krawcheck of Special Mark Productions and the Spoiler Room Podcast. Joe Randazzo of The Last Drive-In. The Power of Positive Murder coming soon to somewhere, somehow near you, and also the Spoiler Room Podcast. And of course, Lloyd and Pat Kaufman, the powerhouse behind Troma. Thank you very much for hanging out and talking about the movies with us.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for supporting independent art. We need more independent studios other than Troma. Best wishes, and thanks a lot. Bye.
All right. Thank you, and take care. Hey everyone, Ian here. I know, long time no see. But if you like the video you just watched, feel free to subscribe to Kicking the Seat right here, and also check out the playlist and recommended video right here. Thanks for watching.